We tend to think of history as something that's, well, history, done and dusted, sitting in a textbook. But right now, in India, ancient sites are literally making the news, sparking fierce debates that are shaping today and tomorrow. So today, we're going to dig in and find out why the past feels more present than ever.
It kind of sounds like the beginning of a riddle, doesn't it? But the answer isn't a simple punchline. It actually connects us to some of the most fascinating and complex stories unfolding in India today, blending archaeology, ancient myths, and very modern life.
And that's really the heart of it. The past is never truly in the past. It's a living, breathing thing that we're constantly re-examining. So let's explore 3 incredible sites that show you exactly what I mean.
Okay, first stop, we're heading right into the heart of India's capital, Delhi. We're going to a site that might just hold the key to a legendary city from one of the world's greatest epics.
This is the Purana Kila, the old fort. And yeah, you can just feel it, looking at those towering gates and massive walls, right? They just scream 16th century Mughal power. But the real story, the one that's got everybody talking, is buried deep beneath the surface. Whispers of a much, much older tale.
And I mean literally buried. Right now, the Archaeological Survey of India has shovels in the ground. They are actively digging here, reigniting a quest to uncover the fort's deepest secrets, and maybe, just maybe, rewrite a very famous piece of history.
So what's the big prize? What's the holy grail they're hoping to find? They are searching for actual physical proof of Indraprastha. If that name rings a bell, it should. It's the magnificent, legendary capital of the Pandavas from the epic Mahabharata. And for centuries, tradition has said that this is the spot. So how do you prove something like that? Well, it might all come down to pottery. I know, but stick with me. The key clue is a very specific type called painted gray ware. Think of it like a cultural fingerprint. This fine, gray pottery with its distinctive patterns is a telltale sign of a certain people. And here's the kicker. Its age, somewhere between 1100 and 400 BCE, lines up perfectly with the estimated time of the Mahabharata. And crucially, they've already found pieces of it right here at Purana Kila. But this is where history stops being a simple treasure hunt and becomes a full-blown debate. Is finding this pottery the smoking gun, a direct physical link between this spot and that epic story? Or does it just tell us that a group of people who happen to use this style of pot lived here 1,000 years before the Common Era? It's a question that pits hard archaeological evidence against a powerful, ancient literary tradition. Okay, let's leave that debate simmering and travel to Madhya Pradesh, where another historical site is at the center of a modern legal and religious storm. This is the story of the Bodhshala complex. And here it is, the Bodhshala complex. I mean, just looking at these incredible carved pillars, you can feel the layers of history, can't you? It's a place of stunning beauty, but it's also a place of really deep contention. So much so that the High Court has actually ordered a scientific survey of the whole complex to determine its, and I'm quoting here, true nature. Why? Because it's a sacred place of worship for both Hindus and Muslims.
And the reason for all this is literally etched into its stones. So let's rewind. The story starts way back in 1034 AD. The great king Raja Bhoj builds it as a university, a center for Sanskrit studies, dedicated to Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge. But history is never that simple. In 1305, it was attacked. Then, in 1514, the Kamal Malula Mosque was built on the site. So over hundreds of years, it evolved into this place with deep significance for 2 different faiths, a layered identity that is now at the very heart of a modern legal battle.
For our final story, let's head south to the incredible ruins of Hampi in Karnataka. This is a place that shows us that even the act of trying to save history can be filled with challenges.
And this isn't just theoretical. A recent event at Hampi is a really stark reminder of how fragile our heritage can be. The collapse of a mantapa, that's a kind of pillared hall, near the famous Virupaksha temple, has put a huge spotlight back on the enormous challenges of preservation.
To really get what's at stake here, you have to imagine what Hampi once was. This was the capital of the mighty Vijayanagara Empire. A Portuguese traveler back in the 16th century, Domingo Paes, was so blown away he said it was, quote, as large and beautiful as Rome. Let that sink in for a second. Rome.
So, in a massive victory for conservation, Hampi was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site back in 1986, and this was a huge moment of global recognition, a promise to protect these magnificent ruins for all of humanity.
But And there's always a but, isn't there? The very effort to preserve Hampi ended up creating a whole new set of really complex and very human challenges. See, to meet those international standards, a powerful new authority came in and imposed really strict rules. Imagine this, a marketplace that's been the beating heart of your community for centuries, where your family has traded for generations, and then one day, it's just cleared out, gone. That was the reality for the historic market right in front of the Virupaksha temple. Residents and businesses were moved, and it sparked this really difficult debate. What does it mean to preserve stone ruins if you displace the living culture that grew up around them? It forces you to ask who heritage is really for.
So, after looking at a mythical city, a contested shrine, and a preserved but disputed ruin, what does it all mean? Why does wrestling with the past matter so much today?
Well, I think it comes down to three big ideas. First is discovery. History isn't a finished story. It's an active investigation, constantly being rewritten by what we find right under our feet. Second, identity. These sites show us that the past is the foundation of who we are, shaping community, faith, and, even conflict. And finally, choice. The dilemma at Hampi proves that preservation isn't a simple act. It's a series of really tough choices about what we save, how we save it, and whose story gets to be part of that future.
Ultimately, the stories we choose to tell about our past are what shape our present and our future. So as we keep digging up new evidence and grappling with these complex histories, the most important question we have to ask ourselves is this: whose version of the past will we choose to remember and carry forward?